Hey, welcome to True North Strong and Free, the show that plays 100% Canadian independent music. I'm your host, Jay Danley. If you are a Canadian independent musician and you'd like your material played on this show, which is to be nationally syndicated by the end of this year, please send MP3s and a short bio to Canadian100% at gmail.com. That's all spelled out. Canadian100% at gmail.com. As always, all of the links for buying the music that you hear on this show are going to be available on the videos that I make for the True North Strong and Free Facebook page and the True North Strong and Free YouTube channel. The videos there contain all of the links that you can go to and buy the music that you hear on the show that you like, and please do go and buy it. This is episode number 10. Going to start off the show with some avant-garde classical music from a group called Standing Wave. Standing Wave, Western Canada's foremost contemporary chamber ensemble. Standing Wave is a sextet of intrepid new music interpreters dedicated to commissioning and performing cutting-edge music from today's most forward-thinking composers. This is a piece of music I think is really cool. It's called Difficult Bamboo. I really love the percussive elements in this mixed with the way that the flutes are played and the piano blends in with these instruments. This is pretty neat stuff from Standing Wave. Yeah, that's pretty wild stuff from Standing Wave. Coming up now is some really interesting music from a person named Saya Gray. I've been playing quite a bit of Saya Gray's music here on this show. One of the great things about this show is that it has really opened me up and forced me to hear some music that I wouldn't have otherwise known that I liked. But I've really found that I come to enjoy Saya Gray's music. Here's a blurb on Saya Gray. Gray was born in 1995 and raised in Toronto, Ontario, growing up in the Beaches neighborhood of Toronto. Her mother is the founder of the Discovery Through the Arts Music School in Toronto. She is of Japanese Canadian descent. Her father is a Scottish Canadian jazz trumpet player who studied at the Berklee College of Music. Her brother, Lucian Gray, who plays the guitar, appears on her album 19 Masters. She began playing the piano at a young age, eventually deciding around the age of 10 to play bass. Here is music from Saya Gray.
We are going to heaven soon. Teach me what I need to know, Blue Lotus Ice. Teach me what I need to know, Blue Lotus Ice. My ovaries spit you out cause there's too many tiny people in big houses. 10 cars carrying silicone tits, I hit my head on higher purpose. I can't wait for your blessing. I can't wait for your blessing. For your blessing.
All right, that was Saya Gray. And remember, you can go and find the links to purchase the music that you hear and like on this show by going to the True North Strong and Free Facebook and YouTube pages. Look up the episode number and you will find the links for all of the music on that particular episode that you can go and buy from the artist directly. This is episode number 10 of True North Strong and Free. Coming up next is a band called Zune. Zune is a Canadian shoegaze band from Hamilton, Ontario, whose core member is Anishinaabe musician Daniel Monkman. For those that don't know, shoegaze is a term used for a kind of a dreamy, somewhat psychedelic type of music where the musicians have a tendency to stare down at their shoes. That's why they call it shoegaze. They are most noted for their 2020 album Bleached Waves, which was a shortlisted finalist for the 2021 Polaris Music Prize. Originally from Selkirk, Manitoba, and a member of the Broken-Head Ojibwe Nation, Monkman moved to Hamilton after stints living in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Calgary. They abandoned music for a number of years, during which they struggled with drug and alcohol addiction. But before getting sober with the help of the traditional Anishinaabe teachings of the Seven Grandfathers. Okay, so this is Zune, and this is really cool stuff. I really like the sort of the psychedelic dreaminess of this, mixed with another thing I really love is nice, heavy, overdriven, distorted guitars. It's pretty rocking, pretty great stuff. This is Zune. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Zune from Hamilton. Great band. Really like that kind of dreamy, psychedelic kind of stuff. That's really good. Gonna change directions here, change gears a bit. This is somebody again that I've had on the show before. I played her music on the show before. I really like it. I've never been one really to go for singer-songwriter type of material, but I found some that I do like, and this person's music I really do like. Her name is Claire Morrison. She's a Montreal-based singer-songwriter. Delivers luminous, dazzling alt folk. Yeah, alt folk with fearless intimacy. A Folk Alliance 2025, Folk Canada 2022, and Pop Montreal 2021 showcase artist. She was named a Canadian artist to watch by the Canadian Culture Centre in Paris. Indie music calls her a unique, surprising, and insatiable composer. What I like about this is there's kind of a darkness in the lyrics which I really like, and I find this is a lyric writer that doesn't give me too much information. Doesn't talk about what she had for breakfast this morning. She gives me just the stuff that I need to draw me in, and leave a lot of space for me to fill in the information myself. I think that's a good trait in lyric writing, in literature. Also, musically speaking, this music, unlike a lot of other singer songwriter stuff that I've heard, not all, but some that I've heard, this stuff takes a lot of interesting changes. It goes in strange and interesting and unexpected places, harmonically. She'll go to a chord change often that I'm not expecting. She'll do a lot of what's called, at least this song has quite a bit of something that's called the deceptive cadence. It's when you're hearing the chord progressions moving in a certain direction and you think that you can predict where it's going to go next, but the composer takes you somewhere else. This is Claire Morrison.
Sweetheart, yeah, you know who you are. I hear you're gonna be a married man. Before you go, I'm just dying to know if she knew how you had everything planned. Laughing in the kitchen, hiding from your parents, made to get me right down on the floor. False friend, I knew it then, all the little things that I'd be sorry for. When I heard you go, hey, oh, come to me, oh. Hey, oh, come to me, oh. Why don't you come around here? No, 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 no. Why don't you come around here? No, 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 no. Why don't you come around here? You were bolder than I, and told your friends that that's what love is about. They won't pay, so they file it away. Tell you to pray your brother never finds out. Ah, you knew you shouldn't, ah, you couldn't help it. Even got it all down on the page. Then up in flames, oh what a shame. I was pretty smart for a kid that age. You made a woman from a child, oh, and then you left her running wild, oh. So don't you come around here, no, 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 no. Don't you come around here, no, 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 no. Don't you come around here. In your final fall, you wanted to be absolved. Stick your fingers in my bloody side. I say I'm fine, you say you'll take my advice and ask if you can fly to see me sometime. You know you shouldn't come around here, no, 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 no. You shouldn't come around here, no, 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 no. You shouldn't come around here. No, 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 no. Now that we're finally seeing clear. No, 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 no. I think it's you who should be scared. No, 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 no. So don't you come around here. Don't you come around. Don't you come around. Don't you come around.
So there's a bit of a special surprise this week, which I like to do. I've got an interview with a really, truly amazing musician. Her name is Rebecca Wolkstein. Rebecca is the creator, founder, composer for, and violinist and singer for the group Payadora Tango Ensemble. This is very, very adventurous stuff. She's an incredible musician. The band is stocked with incredible musicians. And I had the pleasure of talking to her this week, and I'm going to play the interview with her now. This is me talking to Rebecca Wolkstein about Payadora Tango Ensemble. So I'm here talking to Rebecca Wolkstein. She's the creator, musical director, and performer, violinist, singer in the group Payadora Tango Ensemble. Hi, Rebecca. Say hello to everybody, would you?
Hello.
So I wanted to ask a little bit about, first of all, can you tell me about the creation of Payadora and where the inspiration for the idea came from?
Okay, well, when I was in college at the Cleveland Institute of Music, I first heard the recordings of Astor Piazzolla's own ensemble and really fell in love with those and decided I wanted to have my own tango band someday. So then I ended up moving to Toronto and looking for the right musicians for quite a few years before putting together Payadora with an Argentinian bass player. And at this point, we've been going since 2013.
Wonderful, great. And you mentioned Astor Piazzolla. A few listeners might not know who that was. It's a very important composer in tango music. I know a little bit about his history. Can you tell us a little bit more about Astor Piazzolla and his history and importance?
Sure. So he was a revolutionary. So he stepped into a very beloved musical genre in Argentina and Uruguay and really shook it up. He went to school and studied with Nadia Boulanger and was sort of looking into being a classical composer. And Boulanger said, "Write what you know. Why don't you take influence from tango?" And he really ran with it, but he changed the genre so much that people got very upset. He would be beat up on the streets for it. At that time, people were really passionate about tango music there.
What was the difference, sorry, some of the differences between his inventions and tango before that?
I think I lost you there. Sorry, what were
Oh,
you saying?
what were some of the differences between his inventions and tango that existed before that?
Hmm. So golden era tango, I guess harmonically, he changed it quite a bit. Um, you have to, I guess you have to say there's a lot more darkness in his music, and modern tango kind of ran with that. It's become much darker than its beginnings. Um, Maybe it would be best to play samples of some golden era tango and then some
Right.
piazzolla to hear the difference, but it's quite stark.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, it's good to hear you describe it too, and I'm definitely going to play some tango, classic era tango at some point too. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about if I have it right, your earlier musical life was in classical music and studying classical music. Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah. I have several degrees in violin performance with uh, in classical music, and my entire youth was focused on it.
Great. Okay. Well, since we're touching on that, where did the original love from music come from?
Well, I come from a musical family, so my dad was a pianist and my mom's a harpist, and I played with them in weddings and different events from the time I could play with a nice tone at all, I would say. I also have aunts who perform as cellists in Germany and in the Boston Pops, and we had family going to Interlochen Arts Camp for generations and generations. It's a very big part of my mom's family. My grandmother was a piano teacher, and she had all of her daughters helping her out with her teaching. So she would go throw a casserole in the oven, and she had lots of assistants. There were five kids. And she also played the calliope, which is an instrument that you play through parades. And my grandpa would pull her in the truck. So I used to go and visit, and we'd go on the calliope.
Oh,
So,
that's great. That's a great story. That's really sweet. Okay. What I'm going to do is we're going to play some Payadora Tango Ensemble now. Rebecca, tell us what tracks we should play to start off with.
okay. Our most recent release is called The Legend of Carao, which is a multimedia project. You can actually check out online, legendofcarau.com. And it tells the story of a young gaucho, an Argentine cowboy who forgets what's most important in life. He doesn't go to get medicine for his mother, who's sick, and he just wants to have a good time. He's young after all. And so there are a few different tracks that you could play from that.
Okay.
There's a chacarera. So because he's a cowboy, this is all original music, but inspired by not only tango but folkloric music from the countryside, from the Pampas. So you could play Gaucho de las Pampas, which is a chacarera inspired piece, and this is like Carao's character piece. This is where he says, I'm a gaucho from the Pampas, and all the women love me, and I'm so handsome, and the women line up for me. And it's sung by the great Elbio Fernandez, who performs with us.
Marvelous. This is original music written by Rebecca Wolkstein and performed by her group, Payadora Tango Ensemble. Links for this, as always, are to be found in the videos that I make for these shows on the True North Strong and Free Facebook and YouTube channels. You can go there to purchase the music and to see this incredible work.
Soy un gaucho de las pampas y las pampas vive en mí. Es que tengo buena estampa, qué buen macho yo crecí. ¡Qué bien, che! ¡Ay, vamos! Jineteando en tierra campa, sueño en labios de rubí. Ay, me caigo de esta rampa porque anoche no dormí cantando esta chacarera. Si conquisto a la soltera, de seguro si pudiera me quisieran presumir. ¡Ay, que sí que me presumen! Yo quiero esa ganadera, no cualquiera baila así, pero aquella jardinera, la primera que yo vi. ¡Está linda, che! ¡Ay! ¡Vamos! Tengo todos los placeres y mujeres para lucir. Se me olvidan los quehaceres, ya me van a hacer sucir. Cantando esta chacarera, si conquisto a la extranjera, ya quisiera que supiera lo que dice al partir. Que no sé lo que dice. Lindo. Ya va a comenzar la fiesta, denme vino hasta fruir. Comenzó a tocar la orquesta, que hagan fila o voy a oír. Y me voy, A ver. Soy un capo codiciado, ¿qué más da si nací? Conquistar a las potrancas es bien fácil para mí. Cantando esta chacarera, si conquisto a la trailera, ya llegaron las solteras, las mineras, las pesqueras. Hagan fila las de afuera, que baile la aventurera. Pero considera que la horera anda bien fiera. Soy un gaucho de las pampas y la pampa vive en mí. ¡Viva la juventud! ¡Viva la pampa! ¡Salud!
Yeah, so I'm talking to Rebecca Wolkstein, the creator of Payadora Tango Ensemble, about her group and her musical life. Here's part two of that interview. Rebecca, can you tell me anything about like some of the great performances that you've done? Any of the have you been up for any awards, nominations, or received, or anything that's been really important to you for Payadora?
Yeah, well, the most recent thing is the Canadian Folk Music Awards, the Pushing Boundaries for the Legend of Carao album, which I was really quite pleased about because I think that's what we did. I think, writing an original story based on a folk tale and collaborating, being able to work with a bunch of artists from different disciplines, from illustrators to dancers, to lyricists to translators. So many people were involved in this. So it was much more than just an album. So that really felt nice to be um, nominated for that. And
Just to interject there, for any listeners that are hearing this, you really do need to go and check this out. I'm not. I'll try to say the name of it, but it's a true multimedia experience of looking through this book. There is actually a book, I believe, that is the book actually for sale, Rebecca?
yeah, it's for sale on payadora.com. It's a hardcover book that you can get with a QR code for the music or with an actual CD in the back. And then you read the story and look at the illustrations along with music that goes with it.
It's absolutely incredible, and the video that goes along with it is phenomenal too. All of this is going to be links on the videos on True North Strong and Free YouTube page and True North Strong and Free Facebook. This is episode number, I think it's episode number 10. Yes, it is episode number 10. And please look that up and go and buy this music. And this stuff is absolutely phenomenal. So sorry, I sidelined us there. We were talking about important events that have happened in Payadora's history. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, our record before The Legend of Carao, called Silent Tears, the Last Yiddish Tango, was awarded the German World Music Prize, and we performed in Rudolstadt, Germany, and we were number one on the world music charts in Europe, and performed in South America and toured Europe twice. It was really a very exciting opportunities that came from that record. So I'd say that and then also performing with Point Tango Dance Company, a Florida tour that I was able to set up in performing arts centers was really cool. I made all of the backdrops and um, yeah, there's something really electrifying with yeah.
Rebecca, I'm sorry, the internet connection here is not the most stable. Can you just repeat like the last 30 seconds of that?
Sure. I really enjoyed touring and performing with Point Tango Dance Company every time we've gotten an opportunity to do that. There's something really electrifying about performing with those dancers in particular who are doing acrobatics and tango and performing on point shoes at the same time. So what we're trying to do musically is to take inspiration from tango and from samba and chacarera and to bring these different styles that we love and fuse them with other music that we've played. As an ensemble, we play a lot of different styles of music. And so when we compose, there are definitely elements of classical music, of jazz, of I don't even know what. Sometimes I listen back and say, you know what, that kind of reminds me of the following.
Mhm.
And that's what's really fun about performing with these dancers who have created their own dance style with tango on point shoes. So it's very cool.
Well, that's really amazing, and you just touched on that in some cases what you're doing with your own compositions. First of all, making your own compositions in an already existing style of music is one of the best ways that a musician can help to keep the genre that they love alive. And by fusing it with different elements is another key thing. Can you elaborate on that any more than that?
Um, yeah, I guess what I fell in love with tango was partially the style of violin playing, the romanticism. It reminded me of some of my favorite aspects of romantic violin playing. I always loved playing, Brahms concerto and Glazunov and this really juicy stuff and encores. And so you take the groove of tango and the rhythm, and I already feel that tango was a fusion. Well, it was a fusion of so many different musical styles. So it's really just adding my own my own experiences in music. And I guess when I compose, I find it's just really interesting to see what my brain comes up with and what inspires me that day. And whether I'm writing for this other band that I have called Schmaltz and Pepper, or if I'm writing for Payadora, or doing songwriting and writing funny songs, all of your life experiences come together, however they do that particular day. And it's really quite fascinating how the brain works.
Indeed, it
So,
is. Yeah, absolutely right. And so we're in your another way of saying what you're saying there is that you yourself, the artist, is actually right there deeply in everything that you're putting out. So your life experiences are actually coming into, say, your tango writing, and that can mean even to my mind can mean things that are even non-musically related. Everything that we are goes into the art that we create, and
yeah.
that's yet another way that these genres that we love are kept alive. Tango is a rather old form of music. I don't know exactly when it started in even the classic age or the golden age, but these forms of music have been able to stay relevant by the fact that people like yourself are actually continuing to write new music for it and putting themselves in it. It's getting a modern perspective. You also mentioned earlier in our talk here that you came from a classical background. And another thing that really interests me very much is musicians that push their own boundaries and force themselves out of their comfort zones. I heard a very good quote recently from Eckhart Tolle that he said, "No growth ever comes from a person's comfort zone." So, tell me a little bit about what a classical musician goes through your perspective on pushing the boundaries and getting out of that.
That's difficult. That's very difficult. We spend so much time, so many years um, being criticized. So, from weekly lessons to master classes to studio class to audition prep to auditions, it's all about doing things properly. There's this there's a perfection that we're trying to attain in every aspect of our playing. And so it's sort of antithetical to creativity in some ways. I mean, there's creativity with the way that you interpret the music, and there's creativity with your sound and your choices, but definitely you have to battle against the f feeling that you're doing things wrong because you're told you're told that you're doing things wrong so many times for so long, for years by people who are more knowledgeable, more experienced, more expert than you. So at a certain point, you know, you have to say, okay, I I've studied, I myself can allow myself to take risks. And if you don't take risks, then you're not really going to explore any new boundaries. You're not really going to you can't really be creative if you're trying to please others and do what you think you're supposed to do. And I think it's a big challenge. It's a challenge still for me, and I have to always work against it. I think as a female artist, we might have even more trouble than male artists. It seems to me that from this is not always the case, but I think often it is. It is a gendered issue as well. And on top of that, I think the classical musician mindset is is that we're going to do things wrong. It's going to be wrong. So the idea of improvising, oh, that's so scary. Most classical musicians don't want to try to improvise because they think that they'll play a wrong note or it's not going to be the correct sound. And when I look at non-classical musicians, they're much more like willing to say that this is my sound. I'm an individual. And um, that's something that I think you can learn a lot from non-classical music and learning to improvise this idea of not having to be perfect all the time, which is something I think classical musicians will struggle with for our entire lives.
Yeah.
But if you can if you can take risks, I think that's where the really good stuff is.
Mhm.
You know, if you do only safe shifts, it might be really, really well in tune, but it might not uh, be all that expressive, right? It's that idea. So when I took a lot of, audition prep classes in school and or was preparing an orchestral audition, my solo playing would be less expressive because you are working so hard actually to not do anything that might be too out of line.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's awesome to have all of that training in classical music because then if you can allow yourself to make your own decisions at some point, you have a whole arsenal, a whole toolbox of options from tone colors to articulations to, and that's where the fun is, right? That is creativity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really well put. I mean, I'm wondering, like, with classical music, then where does when you're struggling with trying to attain this idea of perfection that seems to be somebody else's idea of perfection, where does the support and the good feelings that make you want to continue come from?
I think the music is just so good. I mean, if we're looking at music from, Bach was born in 1685. So we're talking about the best music from the last hundreds of years. That's the stuff that's still lasting for the most part, right? So this is unbelievable to have the privilege to be able to play this music. And if you can play chamber music with other people, and it's really joyful it's hard and it can be emotionally very challenging, but it's also very joyful to make music with other musicians and to try to bring to life the glorious music from, maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe more years ago.
So it's
I mean,
still really
that's
just the reward. So it's still just the reward of actually playing music, not unlike what it is for somebody that's coming from the other side, if you want to put it that way, where we're not being held to those exacting standards, but the fun still comes from playing music that we love. You sound like you very much loved the music that you were playing when you were striving for that idea of perfection. So
hmm.
we're going to play another track from Payadora right now. Tell me which track we're going to play.
How about we play Fruta Prohibida? So this is an original tango inspired piece that I wrote. So our protagonist, Karao, he's supposed to be getting medicine for his mother, and instead of going to the pharmacy, he hears the distant sound of a bandoneon, and he ends up in a tango club. And this song is called Forbidden Fruit, the idea being that he sees a beautiful woman in there, and this whole idea of going to a tango club at this point is forbidden.
Okay, marvelous. Been talking to Rebecca Wolkstein, the creator and composer violinist for the group Payadora Tango Ensemble. Thanks a lot, Rebecca. Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you, Jay.
La mayor tentación es prohibida, con cuidado, mancebo con alas. Es lo más castigado de la vida. No sea tan andariego, no se vaya, con sus labios de fuego consume, cuando roza su aliento su cuello. Mezquizo ya te advierte su perfume. Ingrato, piense bien lo que presume. Cuando salga el sol, pedirá perdón. Fruta prohibida, flama encendida, sangre ferviente. sueñes, mancebo con alas. No es el vuelo que quiere una dama. Fruta prohibida toca el violín. ¡Salvate, mancebo danzarín! Danzarín, para vos no hay castigo. Olvidaste a mi Dios de testigo. Ningún remordimiento lo quebranta. Apaga su sollozo en la garganta. Brotan lágrimas, sabor veneno, con su orgullo enterrado en el cielo. Tiznado se perdió el enamorado, probando los deleites del pecado. Cuando salga el sol, pedirá perdón.
And that was Rebecca Wolkstein and Payadora Tango Ensemble. It's amazing stuff. Once again, remember you can go and buy all of the music found on these shows on True North Strong and Free Facebook and YouTube pages. Look for the episode that you're listening to. This one is episode number 10, and you will be able to find all of the links on where you can buy the music you're hearing on this show. Coming up next, really great group. This is fun stuff. This is a group called Afrotronics. This is new to me, and this was sent in to me this week, and I'm really happy to have received this. By the way, if you are a Canadian independent musician, send me your music to Canadian100%@gmail.com. Send that in a short bio. I'd love to hear it, love to take a look at it. Maybe we can get your music heard across Canada. And the show, I'm hoping, is going to be nationally syndicated, at least one station carrying it in all the provinces across Canada by the end of this year. Afrotronics. Afrotronics fuses Chadian initiation rhythms and Sahara, Gourain, and Arabic vocal heritage with forward-looking electronic production, crafting a spiritual Pan-African sound that bridges ancestral wisdom and the music of tomorrow in a sonic ritual initiation. This is terrific. I love the roots music, different musics from around the world and their root forms. And this person, Afrotronics, is very cleverly combining it with digital music and all kinds of different influences and fusions. Found this week and just love it. Here we go, Afrotronics.
Suma